Good morning. We are doing the Bhagavad Gita. This is chapter 3. And chapter 3 we are doing from verse 36 onwards. This is a chapter relating to Karma Yoga. And we have done till 35 where it was discussed how attraction, repulsion sways the mind of a person. The mind is a very volatile object which gets swayed by anything that comes in its way. Now, karma, how does it happen, is the topic of discussion today. So, the satsang is on how does this karma occur. We are doing Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 36. Arjuna said, "Now impelled by what, Krishna? Does this man commit sin even involuntarily as though driven by force?" Now, the reason why Arjuna is asking this question is, how does a man, even if he is not at all involved in an action, he is not even having any intentions, there is nothing that is motivating him, like I have to do this, and yet he is incurring what is called as a sin. Now, when we say sin over here, sin actually is not sin. Sin means an action performed which is contrary to the dharmic laws. Okay? So, how does that happen is the question. He says, impelled by what? That means, what is it that is making this happen? There has to be some force which is driving this towards making this action, isn't it? Whether it is voluntary or involuntary, this action is something is happening. And when I am not involved with it voluntarily, I am not interested in even doing this action. And yet that happens. What is it that makes me go into that? So Krishna is going to respond to that. Sri Bhagavan said, "It is desire begotten of the element of rajas, which appears as a wrath. Nay, it is insatiable and grossly wicked. Know this to be the enemy in this case." Mute.
Good morning, Guruji.
Mute. म्यूट करने को ठीक है. So Sri Bhagavan said, it is desire. What is it actually? It is desire which is begotten out of the element of rajas, which appears as a wrath. Nay, it is insatiable and grossly wicked. Know this to be the enemy in this case. Now, let us take an example. You are going through your Facebook feed. All right. And suddenly you come across a statement. 37. Okay, I will go back to 35 once I finish 37. So suppose you see in your Facebook feed, this has happened. There is a particular sentence which is, it's not obviously relating to you, but in that sentence it is written over there that people don't have any brains. In this time of crisis, people are still making cakes and pastries. And imagine you had put up a picture of a cake and a pastry the previous day. You see the comment over there. And it is not even under your heading, it is under somebody else's. But this person you know somehow. And that is why it has appeared in your feed. What happens over there? See how the sentence has been put. It is desire begotten of the element of rajas. What is the desire of yours? That person should praise my effort of putting this cake picture that I have put up. I have made such a beautiful cake. The whole world should appreciate it. But this person is making a statement that in times of crisis, people have no brains. They are putting up pictures of cakes and all these things. Your mind has immediately attached to this sentence. It has created visions in your mind. It says, see, this person should have at least said good words about me, but instead is trying to deride me. Deride me, and this is happening because of the element of rajas. I am greatest. I do things. I am the one who runs this place. I am the one who is a very good cook. These are the I's that come up, and you think you are the best. Because you do things, And this is the way the mind has reacted. And when that happens, it is insatiable and grossly wicked. What is insatiable and grossly wicked? The person saying, I will show that person, I will destroy that person. Who the hell does he or she think they are? These words, these thoughts, or even the action, those kind of actions, or even a person may go to that feed and write. When people can do some nice things in their spare time, they are allowed to do. Maybe this kind of a snide remark has been put on that. All these actions. Know this to be the enemy in the case. Please understand, this is the enemy in the case. The moment this desire comes that a person should praise me, the person, even if they have nothing to say, at least they should keep quiet. That is a desire. The desire to even think that you are the greatest in the world. The desire to assume that, nobody understands this better than me is all called desires. Apply this in your life and then you will understand. Krishna is telling Arjuna, just the thought. I will show Duryodhan. He has taken my kingdom away. He has put his hands on my wife. Who does he think he is? All these words, just the thought, based on the desire that at least he should have given me those little villages that I asked him for. My brother had said, just give us 5 villages, that's it, I don't need more than that. And he has not given. He has taken everything from me. And now he has usurped my kingdom and staying in my kingdom over there. So how can he talk like this? Please understand here, Arjuna is the one who has lost everything. It is not Duryodhan who has lost anything. So think about it. The person who has written something in your feed has not actually lost anything. It is you who has lost everything because you consider yourself as a loser. When somebody thinks that they need someone else to praise them or someone to not say anything even if they don't like, is a worst kind of a creature. There is a very beautiful dog over there. That is a Dalmatian, or it is a golden retriever. And the golden retriever is strutting. And behind that there is another dog sitting. That dog is that Vodafone dog, you know? Huh? A pug. Have you seen a pug in life? He looks more like a bug. One of the worst looking creatures. And if this dog is strutting over there, the pug looks at him and says, oh, what does he think of himself? Actually, that golden retriever is not doing anything. That is the way of walking. But the pug's mind has immediately caught on to it. Oh, he thinks no end of himself. Look at the way he's walking. That golden retriever is actually not deriding this small creature. Think like that. Why do you have to think that the whole universe is revolving around you? You are just a little pug, an insignificant creature. And you think there are people out there to get you? I mean, what do you have in you to think of yourself as somebody great? Do you understand? Look at your own face, look at your own body, look at your own mind, look at your own place where you are. You are like that pug who is a miserable creature, insignificant to the core. You are nobody in this world. You are not even a prime minister of a country. You are not even a leader anywhere. And why would someone else have to take your position? It is nothing like that. And yet the mind is so attracted towards that desire to get appreciation. And this is the reason why people fall down. And now, why do they fall down further? We will discuss it as we go ahead. So, I was told that I have missed out one verse, so I will do that verse first. Alright, this is verse 35. My apologies because I did not notice it. So, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 35. Oh, this is a very, very important verse and I should not have missed it. One's own duty, though devoid of merit, is preferable to the duty of another well performed. Even death in the performance of one's own duty brings blessedness. Another's duty is fraught with fear. I think we were doing duties last time. And this is a very, very important verse. If this verse has to be taken, it will take an entire lifetime to understand. I have got few minutes to explain to you. Krishna is saying one's own duty, though devoid of merit, is preferable to the duty of another well performed. Here, there are a couple of things which we need to understand. One's own duty means what? One's own duty means swadharma. Why are you born in this world? You are born in this world so that you can do your duty. There are companies which appoint people for specific job. Someone is appointed for the purpose of marketing. Others are appointed for the purpose of finance. And there are various people. Let us say you are appointed in a particular company as a leader, a manager in charge of a certain department. That is your job. If you go and try to tell the HR manager how to perform his duty, do you think it is the right thing to do? No. Are you not supposed to be proficient in your own job? So if you are appointed for a particular position and if you have a certain number of people under you, it is you who is supposed to guide those people and take them towards the defined destination by the company or by your seniors, whoever has told you that this is where we are supposed to go, and that is the exact job you are supposed to do. But if you are not a good manager, if you are not performing your duty, and if you think that I am good in this other department, I don't like this department of mine, but I think I am suitable for that other one. And then you start interfering in that. Your senior managers come to know about your interference and they throw you out. You may say, I am doing good to the company, It is not that you are doing good to the company. You are not supposed to be there in the first place. You are not supposed to be doing that job. Another example. There is the army. All right. And the army has various departments. One of the departments is the kitchen. You are working in the kitchen and you are a Havildar in the kitchen, Havildar or whatever the designation that is given. You are maybe a Lance Corporal or something like that. Some designation is there. I don't know the designation, but that is a designation you have. But your department is the kitchen of the army. You are telling the front line people, those who are going on the front, how to fight the battle. Do you think the army appreciates what you are doing? The army will say you are supposed to be working in the kitchen. Your job is in the kitchen. Why are you trying to interfere in the job which is not supposed to be yours? You're not supposed to be bothered about what is happening on the fronts over there. We have already capable people over there. So the army will sack you. Because it can be insubordination, it could be anything, and maybe court martial, you don't know, and you will be thrown out. You are not supposed to interfere in the jobs. Now let us come to the sentence where Krishna is saying something to you. Krishna is saying, I have appointed you in a specific position, a specific place, at a specific time, given special capabilities, and you are supposed to do only that. Krishna said to Arjuna, I am only going to be your Sarathi. Okay? I am only going to drive your horses. That's it. That is my job. I am not supposed to raise any weapon. I am not even supposed to do anything. So please don't expect me to raise a weapon or kill anybody. That is it. He showed it by example. If you have been specially designated to do a job, and if you are disobeying me and doing something completely different, like in the army you get thrown out if you don't do your job correctly, or in your office you will get chucked out because you should not be interfering in other people's jobs. In the same way, if you believe that you who has been kept for a particular position wants to do something completely different, and by the way, you may be proficient in that job. You know how proficiency could be? You have done black belt, karate, judo, jujutsu, all those, magakrava, all those fighting and all that, and yet you are working in the kitchen. So you tell that person on the front, I know martial arts, I can go and kill 100 people. Oh, you may be having the qualification of all those things, but yet you are supposed to be working in the kitchen. Who told you are supposed to be good in that field? You may be saying, I am qualified there, but that doesn't give you the right to go over there and fight. Did you get it? So Krishna says to Arjuna, you are a warrior. Your job is to fight and kill. You are only supposed to do that. Now, in this case, mostly the question arises in the minds of people, what is the job that I have to do? Do you want it, tattooed over here, what job you are supposed to do? I have given very clear indication, and not once, 10 times, 1,000 times. To some people I have said, you are the leader. To some people I have said, you are the artist. To some people I said, you are the actor. Some people I have said, you are the writer. Somebody is the producer. Somebody is the director. Everybody has been given positions. And yet the person is asking this question, what am I supposed to do? If your job is acting, don't tell the director how to direct. Got it? If your job is of a leader, don't keep on saying, can you show me how this is done? You have to set example to others. If you yourself are a bad example, if Arjuna says in the battlefield, I don't know how to fight, this weapon is very new to me. I mean, just imagine a weapon has been given to Arjuna. the latest of the Kalashnikovs, or all those guns, and he says, I don't know how to pull this trigger. What? You are the leader of men. It is your job to find out how it is done. Go search for it. Google is there. Go. YouTube is there. They will show you how to fire. Even in my world, people come to me and ask me silliest of the questions. You know the silliest of the questions that they ask me? Can you please tell me how to use this? Can you tell me how this is done? Can you tell me for this? Can you do this? Only once, you just have to show me. That once never goes away, by the way. It keeps on coming again and again and again and again and again. Are you a kid that you have to be told 10 times the same thing? If you are sitting in my satsang, please understand you are qualified already. Don't show your inability that I don't know how to do this. Go and do it. And please don't expect praises. Krishna is not going to stand over there. Wow, what an aim. You just killed the greatest soldier. I mean, just imagine Krishna standing over there. Wow, I like it, Arjuna, what an aim. You aimed exactly for the heart and you hit him and he is dead in one stroke. Imagine the whole Mahabharata will be like this. And then Arjuna will say, let me show you another one, Ahankara comes in. Don't expect praises. Don't say that I have done a good job. This is one thing you need to understand. If you are on the path, don't expect praises from anybody, because remember that attraction and repulsion or praises of any sort will destroy you. So Krishna never says a word. He never says to Arjuna, okay, now on this guy you got to do this. He's not even going to interfere, because he knows the capability of Arjuna. He says, I have made you. And you are that miserable person who is standing in front of me and telling me, I don't know what to do. At such time, if you are there in Krishna's place, what would you have done? You know what you will tell me? I would have smashed his face up. Isn't that what you would have done? This is the whole point. Arjuna doesn't understand. He is a miserable person. Arjuna is us, all these miserable people in this world. I don't know what to do. I don't know how things are done. And he thinks that he's good, proficient in something else, whereas he's only supposed to be doing that one job. So one's own duty, though devoid of merit, is preferable to the duty of another well performed. Don't try to interfere in somebody else's job. If you are there only as a driver, just remain a driver. You don't have to become a 007. Okay? No, I am listening. Okay. You are not 007. Alright? You are just a driver. Be the best driver in business. Have you seen the movie Baby Driver? He's a driver. A driver is chosen for a particular reason only. So it's like that. If you are chosen for a particular reason, in a particular slot, in a particular time, you know. This one more important rider over here. Don't say I am in the wrong place. Okay, no, you are very much in the right place. Very much at the right time. Everything is happening perfectly, exactly the way it is supposed to be. Why is this thing happening just now to me? It is supposed to happen. It is programmed to happen. Because you are supposed to do your duty. But if you get lost, which is the worst that we are doing now, if you get lost in it and think, oh, this person is trying to pull me down, that Duryodhana, such a person, he's saying, he's just teasing me. Look at him. He's just strutting around. Okay. That is not how it is. Nobody is teasing you. Nobody is doing anything wrong to you. Your job is your job. You better do your job perfectly. And in the end, he is going to give a rider. If you don't do, just watch. It's not a threat actually, but it is also a threat, you can say. Because this miserable character called Arjuna, no, he's always going to keep on crying throughout his life. Even if he is going to become the king of that country, he will still cry. Krishna wants somebody next to him to stand with him, to be the leader of men. He doesn't want a miserable fool. He doesn't want a person who keeps on crying all the time, who keeps on falling in their duty. You get the point? It's a duty, your own duty. You have to do it even if it is without merit. If there is no payment coming also, you still have to do it. Got it? There are no two ways about it. A duty is a duty to be performed without using your mind. Just do it. It is preferable to a duty of another well performed. Even death in the performance of one's duty brings blessedness. Suppose you die while doing that duty. The duty that you are supposed to perform, maybe it is the duty of a doctor who is trying to save many lives in the current scenario. There is virus all over and there is a doctor, and he has been given a job of a doctor and he is supposed to perform the job to the T, and he dies. He will reach the blessedness. He will be blessed so much by the divine to reach the destination. But if that doctor is going to perform another person's duty, no, then he is surely going to go to hell. Hell doesn't actually mean hell. Hell means getting into the material worldly loops again and again. He's going to come back again and again and again by rebirths. Why would he want to come again and again and perform those rebirths? Why not listen the first time and do it and get on with the job? Go ahead. Don't stop. So I have completed verse 35. We had done 36 before and 37 also. So that was the mistake that we did. So I'll go to the next verse, verse 38. I will recap what I did. Arjuna is asking the question to Krishna saying, can a person, commit sin if he does something involuntarily also, without his mind in it, or just like that it is happening? Means he doesn't know that it is happening. It is actually happening, though he doesn't have any clear indication that he has done it, something like that. So Krishna says to him, in this world, everything is driven by desires. There are desires which a man has been always driving himself. And in that desire, things happen. One of the examples is, I was doing yesterday about a sage, a saint. Her name is Bahinabai. She kept on holding to her husband and said, that is my duty, I am supposed to perform my duty towards my husband. And she kept on doing it. Her husband used to beat her left, right and center, dragging her by the hair, literally messing around with her so much that one day he beat her so much that she was unconscious for many days. So this kind of a situation also comes, and where the person thinks my duty is towards my husband. No. When Krishna himself has come and blessed you, when Tukaram has given you that indication that you are my devotee, what is your primary function? What is the reason for your own duty? What is your duty, by the way? Your duty is to write those abhangas, to write the kirtans. So kindly come to, Dehu and stay over there. It is later on in life that Bahinabai understands the meaning of those words and she goes and is there with her guru. That is a different story. So here the understanding should be you have to do what you're supposed to do. Right? But if there is a desire of this kind, in today's day and age, there are lots of issues going on in this world because people are staying at home. And the family helpline is getting a lot of inquiries from battered wives and a lot of fights going on and so on and so forth. In everybody's life, there is a lot of misery. At such point in time, the person, because I have in the past also worked with a lot of women like that, they kept on saying, I have one husband, I have children, I cannot do this, I have to stay here, this is what I got to do. They consider it as their duty. The first duty is towards yourself. Arjuna, your duty is towards yourself. And yourself means the you, the one in you. What are you supposed to do? Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Every day saying that somebody is beating me, somebody is doing this to me, this is the torture I have to go through. Are you not showing that you have the worst kind of an ego in the world? A miserable one, that you are the battered one? Don't you think you are showing the world that you are the worst character? Like, oh my God, I am the miserable one, everybody treats me so badly. It is called a deflated ego. And the deflated ego is acting up. And it gives 100 reasons why you are not supposed to do anything. So this ego is telling that person, give reasons why you can't do this. But the point which they forget is you got to rise and shine. So in my world, I tell people, you can take training from me. You are the big boat. And you are the captain in the boat, by the way. As a guru, I am a tug. You know what a tug is? The small boat that takes the big boats outside. The big ships that are there, they take him outside in the deep waters. It's the same thing. Have you seen a big aircraft and it is towed by a very tiny fellow? Huh? He attaches to the wheel and he drags him exactly to the point, and then you're supposed to go. And then it detaches. A guru's job is only to tell you once or twice or 3 times, maybe maximum. Do this. This is what you got to do. Isn't it your duty to do the rest? You think you should be spoon-fed till the end of life? So whenever these people have come to me, I have told them once, this is what you got to do. Go and do it. Why are you considering yourself as a miserable person? You see, before marriage, you had so many different things to do. You are an artist, you are a martial artist, you are a dancer, you are a singer, you did so many things, you acted, so many things you did, and suddenly after marriage you have become a miserable person. And now I got one husband, I got children, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you are getting lost every day fighting with an idiot. Okay, you know what that means? In simple terms, it means hold on. In medical terminologies, there is a word, and that word is called myopathy. You know, myopathy. Myopathy in medical term means the muscle failure. Your muscles fail you. In spiritual terms, I am going to use the same word. Myopathy is responsible for my muscle failure. My husband is responsible for my problems? No. You are the self. Krishna has made you in a unique way. You are the perfect one for the job. Why are you thinking that you are some person who is supposed to be a doormat of some, husband? Or some doormat of some children? They are all going to leave you. Nobody is there with you. You have a persona, you have a personality. You are supposed to do a certain job. Why don't you do that job? Isn't it high time you looked at yourself and said, I am good. I can do anything in this world. And I'm capable of anything. Why do I need to bow down to someone? I am equal in status. The day I married this man, I am equal in status. Even the law says so. Then why are you taking the beating of this person? Why do you think you are some servant to your children? What makes you think like that? You are your own individual person. Go and do something. And don't expect me to keep on telling this to you over and over again. Got it? So this is the myopathy that we have. All right. And the opposite is also there. Where the husband is in that position, he gets beaten up by the wife. And you think that doesn't happen? The husband gets beaten. He is poor fellow working in the kitchen the whole day. He is looking after the children. He goes and cleans the shit, the toilet and the nappy and this and that. He does that. That's a reverse position. And if he thinks of himself as the most miserable person in the world, he is myopathy. Okay? The reverse of it. Oh. I know these are all sick jokes, okay? But make a light of it. You have a job to do. You have been very specifically kept in a particular position. You have to perform it to the T. Be the best one for the job. It might just be a bricklayer's job. Bricklayer, bricklayer? Construction. But can you lay the bricks perfectly? You may be the one who is just putting the tiles in the floor. Can you put the tiles perfectly? Your job is not to dig around. Your job is not for mixing the cement. Your job is not to put the toilet seat over there. No. Your job is to lay the tiles. Why not lay the tiles? So you have a job. You got to do it. So Krishna says, verse 38, As fire is covered by smoke, mirror by dust, and embryo by amnion, so is knowledge covered by desire. We are coming back to the earlier statement. Why does the mind keep on attaching to those things? I was talking about the Facebook page, or somewhere you saw something and you get attached to it. Do you know why that happens? Because the knowledge that you are a very good person meant for a particular job, you lose it. One covering comes on top of it and then you waste your time. I will show you how you waste your time. A husband and a wife. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. They get married. They become husband and wife. And then the covering starts coming one by one. And for the stupidest reason, believe me, the reasons are not that great at all. Why can't you put your stuff in the washing machine? Why do you have to throw the stuff around? I told you to go to the market and get me, 1 kilo onions. You can't even get up from your bed and go. These are the stupidest reasons why a person can fight. You know what is it that is holding that thing up? The desire. I have a desire that I need a husband or a wife who will get up when I say so. My desire is the person should go and do the job right there and then. It's my desire that you got to put your underwear in the washing machine. Why is it lying around in the house? It is your desire. But that idiot whom you have married has the habit of throwing his underwear all over the town. Okay? Before he married you, he was like that miserable person who will throw his t-shirt here, his pant over there, his underwear over there, and he will use the same t-shirt and the same pant and the same underwear over and over again. Even after marriage, that idiot is still thinking, I am still not married, I got to throw my clothes around. And you are telling him he's supposed to put them in the washing machine. He's a pig. You're trying to train a pig into somebody great. A seeing eye dog maybe. A pig can't become a seeing eye dog, okay? A pig is going to pig forever. In India, we are used to spitting tu all over the town. In current scenario, you're not supposed to spit. You're not supposed to spit or sneeze also in the public. What do you do to the habits of those hundreds and thousands of people who are used to spitting all over the town? Even if the government brings a legislation, you got to make a toilet. People are not going to make a toilet. They are still going to go into the wherever they are supposed to go. You can catch them and fine them. But you see, a dog's tail, if it is bent like this, you can't straighten it. That is the problem which everybody has. So it is your desire to straighten your husband up. It's never going to happen. And if you are the husband and you think, I am getting married because my wife will cook very nice stuff for me. And she tells you, I have never gone into the kitchen in my life. The fight starts there. You can't even make a cup of tea? Oh! It is called desire. And that is what he says. Knowledge covered with desire. The man thought, I think. The mind has thought, I am getting a wife who is going to be a cook. She's going to be very good and she's going to do this and she's going to take care of my mother and my father and my house and she will keep it clean. You think you're marrying some servant or what? A servant who is going to also provide other benefits? You are under a very, very mistaken, the impressions. Don't even think like that. And it is your desire which makes you think other people should listen to me. Who do you think you are? You are nobody. You have to first prove by doing it yourself. You see, you will have to pick up his dirty clothes 100 times yourself. One day, that person will understand. But if you keep on telling the person, do it, his person is never going to understand. Incidentally, I have never understood myself also. Even today, I keep on saying the same words to my disciples. I say, do this, Baba, do this, Baba, do this, Baba, and the Baba never does it. Baba or baby, whoever. They never understand. So the problem is this. So you got to have the understanding and do it. We are trying to change your nature. We're not trying to change somebody else's nature. If you are sitting in my satsang, I am talking to you directly. I am not talking to your husband or wife or some children of yours. I'm not talking indirectly to them. If they were to change, then they would have sat in my satsang, isn't it? So here I am doing one-on-one with you, not with somebody else. You may be on Facebook or wherever you might be, doesn't matter. If you are listening to my words, you better be good. Don't you think that somebody is supposed to do something. You do it. And you be your good self, your duty. And that is the meaning of it. Otherwise, what happens is knowledge gets covered by ignorance or desire. And then you are going to be going to the gutters, not that other person. You know why the other person is not going to the gutters? Do you understand? No. The reason is very simple. That person is a PIG. If the other person is a pig, you think he is going to the gutters? He stays in the gutters. Got it? It is you who is being trained to not do that. You are not a pig. Why do you want to become like that other person? So don't become like that. Can you be really very good? Can you be the Arjuna? Lift your bow and arrow and shoot. You are the best Dhanurdhar in the world. Do it. Show your leadership skills. Show what you are supposed to do. And don't keep on pointing at other people and say, oh, this person did this and that person did that. No. Otherwise, it is like fire covered by smoke. We are doing chapter 3, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, verse 39. And Arjuna, knowledge stands covered by this eternal enemy of the wise, known as desire, which is insatiable like fire. I just now gave you a complete understanding of what this desire is. Your desire that the world should listen to you. Your desire that other people should conform to your methods of thinking. Your way of working in a lazy fashion. These are your own desires, the miserable person that you might be. I will do it tomorrow, I'll do it day after tomorrow, maybe in the future, maybe some other time. Do you know today is a very, very right time, right here and now? This time, all of you are uselessly sitting at home. You know that, no? You have nothing to do. What exactly are you all doing? Don't you think this is high time? It's a God-given opportunity to do something worthwhile for yourself and the people around you. Save the world, go. Become Bob Geldof. Save the world. What it simply means is put efforts. Do your job. Understand who you are. Don't say that I can't do this and I can't do that. Be your good self, the one that God has made you. Don't let this ignorance cover you constantly. Don't get lost in other people's way of working. They do not understand what, that they are supposed to be good. It is you who is getting the training. You be good. If I have to train those people, then they would be here, isn't it? Instead of that, you are here. Don't think that this satsang should have been listened to by my wife or my husband. No, I am not changing them. I am trying to change you. Arjuna, you are the one which Krishna is trying to change. And you are the Arjuna, the listener, the one who is understanding. This is the time when you are supposed to do. Know that every desire of yours, whatever desire, expectations that are there of other people, you have expectation, this person should do this or that person should do that. No, you have to do it. You show me whether you are capable or no. When we are qualifying this sentence, remember the words that I told you. Swadharma. The job which comes to you naturally. What job comes to you naturally? Do you get what I am saying? Do your SWOT analysis and see what comes to you naturally. You will think, oh, I can talk, I can sing, I can dance. Whatever comes to you naturally. You might have forgotten today because you are in holy matrimony, I'm telling you seriously, people think I am married, that is why I can't do this. No, you are doing this whatever you are good at. Just because some company has employed you like a chaprasi in that company, you understand what a chaprasi means? A servant. If you are working for some company, you are definitely a servant. You are not some chaprasi in some company. You are the person that God has made for a purpose. Do not think that is the job. Yes, you have to earn your living, you have to feed your family, you are doing it. But what exactly are you supposed to be doing? What is it that is coming to you naturally? Can you do that? Just because somebody is paying you money doesn't mean that you are a servant to that person. You got to work, yes. You got to be good in that thing. But simultaneously, please understand, you are specifically there for a purpose. So, when this eternal enemy of the wise is covered by means of ignorance or desires, you will not understand. Then you are not a wise person. A wise person understands his duty and performs it to the T. He is supposed to do the job perfectly and not try to do somebody else's job. Before I end, I will tell you the example of the person. Suppose the wife doesn't know to cook and the husband is my devotee, okay, listening to me. And the person has thought, I brought this wife so that she can cook and she can do this and she can do that and she's a great dancer and blah, 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 all that. No. If you are listening to my satsang, you better know how to cook. Because it has come to you naturally, isn't it? The job has come to you naturally. If she were to cook, then she would have already started cooking. Got the answer? Then she would have been a cook. Yes, she would have been a porn star also. What are you talking? You, who is a great person, should know if the other person has incapabilities, you are capable. And you are listening to these words, that means nothing in this world should deter you. Don't get covered by ignorance or desires of this kind. Other person should do. No. Otherwise, it will destroy your life. So we have come to the end of the satsang. I have done till verse 39. Next time, remember that we will start from verse 40 onwards. So today's lesson was, do your duty and don't crib about it. Be happy that you are there in that job. And don't think that the other person is supposed to do something for you. Got it? You do your job properly. Right? So I'll take your leave. You have a very good day and take care of yourself. Bye.